Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you, and thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. And today we're going to be taking a look at 4 really high proof, big flavored rums, okay? And they are hidden behind their boxes because this is what they're going to look like when you see them on store shelves. So I'll go ahead and slide these out of the way. But the first two, the Hampden. Hampden Distillery out of Jamaica. The first one's going to be the Pagos. That's going to be the 100% Ex-Sherry Cask matured rum. Now, this rum, and I'm going to say it like this. There's so much details going into the ester counts and the percentages and all those. It's just too much to remember. So I have that all in the description. So if you want to see the intricate details of each one of these, go in there. I kind of remember some of the basics, so that's what we're going to talk about. But I know this is 100% ex-sherry cask matured, and the ABV on this one is 52%. So 104 proof, not too heavy there. But again, these are Jamaican rum, so you're going to have to expect some of that Jamaican funk, that really uh, big high ester flavors are going to be developed in these. Okay. After that, the Great House rum. Now, the Great House 2023 edition is the latest edition we got here in Texas. Retail pricing on this one was about 125. The Pagos was only about 90. Okay. So that's what that one is. But this one is, I want to say it's a combination of older, because this I think is like 3-year-old rum, 3 to 4. This one is a blend of 2-year-old and I think 7-year-old. But HLCF and the LROK esters marks in this one. And this one jumps up from not just 52 that this one was, we're now up at 114. From there, the Monymusk. And the Monymusk is it's a distillery, but this is actually a collaboration release between Valier. So Habitation Valier, you always hear that. Well, it's Valier with basically a rum broker. And so they got together and they decided to release a couple of, actually 4 single cask releases. These two in the red boxes, when you see the red tops or the red labels, mean they were tropically aged, because they can take those rums and let them age on the island before being bottled. Those are tropically aged. Sometimes they'll take those casks out from the island, take it over into Europe and age it there. Those are known as continental aged. So that if you see them with the red labels, they're tropically aged. Blue labels are their continental aged. And again, full details, the whole background story on all these are there. But what I can give you on the quick details on this one, the first one's going to be a 60% ABV, 120 proof, 8-year-old off the EMB mark. And what else do we need to know on that one? Oh, 8 years old. This one's 7 years old, 2015, so it's a little younger. Clarendon Distillery there in Jamaica. This one's a 0.5% higher ABV, 60.5. All right. Price point on these was much more expensive than over here. I see these, they are limited, but 145 to 165 is the price point I've been seeing these. The Hampden 125, again, Pagos Hampden is only about $80-$90. Okay. All right, we're gonna start there. Lowest ABV, but 100% ex-sherry. When I look at the color on this one, it doesn't look super dark. Okay, so even though it's ex-sherry, it doesn't necessarily mean it was first fill. Could have been second fill sherry casks. But on the nose, all right, it's got the glue, right? Jamaican rums, when they get funky, sometimes they can start going into like chemical tones, like acetone or furniture polish. Sometimes, and a lot of times, they'll go into this glue note. And this one has that. Now, behind the glue, of course, you're going to get all the kind of plums, fermented plums, green banana, underripe pineapple, the clove and cinnamon, and a little bit of those kind of sherried fruits that you would expect. But these are more like dried fruits, right? Like dried figs and maybe A little bit of raisin. Okay. We're going to go ahead and taste it since it is the lowest proof, 104. Here we go. Medium viscosity. Poof, it grows. Lots of flavor on Jamaican rums. I tell people all the time, if you're getting into rums or you're into the the Zaccapas or the sweetened rums, there's nothing wrong with those. I get it. I've I've had my stance on that way before, which is, they were sugar producing islands, and back in the day they were uh, the people on the islands were taking basically the leftover molasses and distilling it for themselves, and of course when it comes off that still and it's just blackstrap, it doesn't really taste very good. So a lot of times they had an abundance of sugar because that's what they're producing. They get it cheaply, so they would add a little sugar to it, and that's why traditionally a lot of rums had sugar. Now, nowadays we're seeing a lot of these what I like to call pure rums, no sugar added. And I love that because you don't have to add sugar to rum for it to taste good. It's more about the fermentation and the distillation and the barrel maturation. And what these are proving also the marks, the different distillations and fermentations that lead to higher ester formations that are going to create denser, deeper profiles. Okay. But this one at only $80, $90, lots of flavor. It's not super sherried. Like, when you look at it, it's 100% Ex-Sherry. I was worried it was going to take over the rum. Didn't at all. Matter of fact, again, this feels like second fill casks. So they're not like pumping out a lot of sherry into the distillate. They're actually just kind of imparting subtle nuances. When you taste this, the rum is the star, okay? You only pick up a little bit of, like, to me, I would say light dried strawberry, a little bit of dried cherries, and definitely a lot of plum. But that plum tone I tend to find a lot. But that's about all this sherry tone I get. That gluey kind of flavor that you pick up early, again, it's pretty common. So to get that, and then you get all those kind of fruits and those almost green bananas, that underripe pineapple's definitely there, adding a little acidity, a little bite to the back of the palate. And then you start leaning on the sherry tones, which is, again, light dried cherry, dried strawberry, the, again, fermented plums because it's kind of funky, soured slightly, and a little bit of cola mixed in there as well. Touch of citrus, but it's not a big citrus pop or anything. It's just a little element that you'll pick up kind of in the back end. All right. Now we're going to taste the Hampden. The Hampden, they've blended two marks together. So again, higher ester formation here. Pot distilled. And here we go, on the nose. Boom, whoa, much bigger. This one goes into polish more than it does glue. That one was into the glue. This one goes into like furniture polish. This one I can almost pick up. It's a little more, what's the word here? Elegant, almost on the nose. It's a little more distinguished. I can actually pick out different nuances as far as, of course, there's going to be that big molasses, but then you're going to get into this one, plums and figs. Some brighter cherry. Maybe a little bit of like a red apple cooked down with that molasses. A little sprinkling of cinnamon, some clove in there, little bit of anise or anise. All right, we're going to taste it. Here we go. This one is 114 proof. Doesn't drink it. Oh. Wow. Okay. Medium high viscosity, automatic. Medium high viscosity. It enters with that really nice molasses fruit combination. And those fruits are going to get the figs, the plums, that kind of red apple, but it's almost overripe soured. Cinnamon, the clove, that little bit of that anise in there, kind of pop up mid palate. Still has a little bit of that green banana, that, again, green banana tone in there. Focusing on the back end now when I'm tasting this one. Yeah, that clove is pretty big. That citrus now, on this one, there's orange oil. There's orange oil spritzed all over this one. You pick that up. Walnuts, kind of pecan, well, more walnut flavor. Some leather in here as well. Kind of reminds me of newer leather on this one. Freshly tanned leather. And all those flavors just kind of linger and roll in the long finish. Doesn't really drink 114. I would say that one drinks closer to like a 90, 98, 99. All right. Now the Monymusk, the Clarendon Distilleries. We're going to start with the 8-year-old because this one, even though it's 8 years old, the mark was lower. So a little less ester than this one, even at 7. 120 proof. This one's interesting. It's a lot more nutty than either one of these. These had that citrus pop. This one's more into crushed, those when they crushed peanuts. I can smell that in with like, this one actually has like nectarine, a little bit of, that's papaya. Papaya. Kind of mushy bananas, I would call that one on the nose here. They're overripe. But that toffee, there's like a toffee tone with those crushed peanuts. Cinnamon, everything's there, but it's 120 proof, and it doesn't really nose that much hotter than that 114. Wow, butterscotch. Butterscotch molasses. Wow. Those kind of like those, what do they call those? White nectarines. I would call that one here. Yeah, nectarine. And then you get into the plums, nectarines. That light kind of, it's not overripe banana. It's not super mushy on the flavor profile. It's just like a good ripe banana. Fresher, little sweeter pineapple. But the papaya tone's bigger than even the pineapple, and I really enjoy that on this one. Along with that toffee and that nuttiness on the mid. To me, that fruit's so unique. That nectarine in with that papaya is crazy and delicious on this one. And you notice I didn't talk about the glue, and I didn't talk about like polish on this one. It's in, the polish is in here, but it's below the fruit, so it's not in the front. In this one, that glue was in the front. Yep. That's a very good rum without being too funky and weird. You know, sometimes, again, people that are even dabbling into the bigger rums, they get kind of leery with Jamaican rums for good reasons. Sometimes they can be pretty pungent. But this one, a great example of what they can be as far as the fruit and the overall flavor complexity without going into that super weird realm. I imagine this one with water is going to be really, really solid, especially if you're not used to high ABV. Now we're going down 1 year, a 7-year-old, 121 proof, but higher ester. All right, so a little more flavor. Let's see. Yeah, the higher esters is where you really start to pick up kind of that. This one's a little more gluey, but it does have that similar toffee. Real similar in the toffee. This one has more of the sour plum, sour apple, a little bit of fig, and cherries. And that cherry was on the edge of the glass. But when you start getting in the glass, you pick up that glued tone right away. Not super tropical. I'm not picking up as much papaya here. There's a little bit and a little bit of the pineapple, but not like the 8-year-old was. But let's taste it and see if it's there. This one drinks a little warmer than this one for sure. And even though it's only 0.5, it's only 1 point higher, 120 to 121. This one has a much more impact. And I think it has to do a little bit with the youth, but also with that higher ester formation. Not butterscotch here. This one's more a little bit of the caramel molasses hybrid. Going right into that kind of underripe pineapple, not sweet. Again, fermented plums. Just a little bit of that cherry, a little bit of the overripe apple. That toffee tone that I found here is in this one. Not as big though. And the back end, it gets a little bit of citrus, but the back end doesn't roll as long. So the 7-year has taken a toll on the finish. Yeah, but it's got a little bit of it's got a nice profile. It's just not what the 8-year-old is. So if you happen to see these side by side on this shelf, go with the 8. Even though it's a lower ester formation, you're going to pay off with the fruit development that one has done. Now, if you can't find these, because these are going to be really probably hard to find, the Hampden Rums are a very solid line. I see these around. I still see even the 21 version of this, and that one's fantastic and only like $99. So if you see any of the Great House Rums, they're worth picking up to add to your collection because they're going to give you that extra depth of flavor that you just don't normally find on shelves anymore, right? When you're sitting there on shelves, you can see some overproof rums, white rums that are going to be very, very big, but they're not going to be, they don't have that refinement that the barrels are going to give you. And these have had time in the barrel, so you're going to get a little more roundness to them. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider joining us over at patreon.com/LiquorHound. That's how I'm able to afford self-purchasing these bottles to review for you, because I am not sponsored. I'm not beholden to any distilleries. They're not sending me these bottles. These are all self-purchased using the funds from my patrons. So I greatly appreciate them for helping keep this channel alive, and I would appreciate it if you join us as well. But if you can't join us over there, no worries. I greatly appreciate each and every one of my viewers. Keep leaving all those great comments, and I'll get back to them just as soon as I can. Everyone have a great day, and cheers.